So we're going to learn the D major scale. The D major scale starts on D, it ends on D, and it has two black notes. The two black notes that it uses are F sharp and C sharp. So remember, to find any scale, you can use the whole step pattern. You start on the first note, also called the tonic. Start on the first note of whatever scale you want to find. Go up a whole step, go up a whole step, go up a half step, go up a whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So that's what the scale looks like. We have D's right here. And then the white and black note pattern is not the easiest to follow. For example, we have two white notes, one black note, three white notes, one black note, and then a white note again. But in the end, even though it doesn't really visually have much of a pattern, besides the whole step, half step pattern, obviously, it's falls pretty easy in the hand. So in the right hand, the fingering is the traditional white note fingering, which is 1, 2, 3, tuck under, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you your middle finger goes on the F sharp. You play 1, 2, 3. You tuck your thumb under to G. Flip your hand around. Make sure your fourth finger is on C sharp and play 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's the D scale. I'll do it again. The D major scale. And remember, when you're first learning, go slow. Make sure your next finger, your brain literally knows, okay, pointer finger needs to play E. And then don't play the next note until you know for sure what it is. Middle finger plays F sharp, not F, F sharp. And then don't lift your middle finger until your thumb tucks under and is ready to play the G. Now your challenge here is to flip your whole hand over, getting all of your fingers in place. See, the G has already died out, the sound. That's okay. You want your brain to be totally involved. So flip your whole hand over, so your pointer's on A, your middle is on B, your fourth finger's on C sharp, and your pinky's on D. And now you can play each finger and it's already ready to go. See, it's already in place. Once you get comfortable going up the scale, then you can practice coming down. Remember that every finger is responsible for, in the D major scale, every finger has its own responsibility. Your fourth finger is required to play the C sharp. Don't let your middle finger play it. Your third finger is required to play the F sharp. So some people try to cross over with their second finger. Well, the second finger's trained to steal the job of the third finger. So make sure your third finger gets to that F sharp. So once you know the responsibility that every finger has for every note, start practicing going up and down. And in the description below, I wrote the fingering, and it is going up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I also wrote the description going down. I actually started on the top note D again, so I wrote 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. But generally when we play scales, once we're comfortable, we don't repeat the top note, so we do not do this. It just makes a little hiccup sound. It's not really necessary. We just play the D once and turn right back around. So the left hand, once you're comfortable with the right hand, or you could always do the left hand first, you just choose whichever hand you enjoy working on, or actually some of my students like doing the hardest one first, so then they feel like, you know, the easy part's left over, and then they are all finished and they're proud of themselves. So the left hand fingering also is the traditional white note fingering, where it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So here are your first 5 notes: D, E, F sharp, G, A. And then you cross your middle finger over to B and you play 3 on B, second finger on C sharp, and thumb on D. And And same with the right hand, go really slow, making sure that every finger understands its responsibility. And I actually have a PDF here of all of the scales that I've made. And in this D major scale here, I'll make sure you can see it. In this D major scale, I have all of the fingerings here. So you don't have to remember or even keep referring to this video. Just go to pianoclassroom.com to get this PDF, and then you can practice it all the time. And the reason we do scales is so that we can play other stuff well and quickly, especially when it's required or it just sounds fun. So the scales are like, like when you're, if you're, say, a baseball player and you're practicing your swing over and over and over again, well, that's so that you can hit it out of the park when you're playing the game. The scales are the same thing. It's like practicing your swing. You just want to get really good at it. So when you're playing a piece that you really enjoy, or, whatever, talent show, whatever it is you're doing, you just feel like de-stressing at home after a long day of school or work, you just sit down and you play your scales. It's actually pretty fun. So, and it applies to pieces. So when you're doing your D scale, get comfortable in your left hand going up. 3, 2, 1. And then when you're coming down, remember every finger has its own responsible note that it's responsible for. After your third finger, tuck under. Flip your hand around. And so don't forget to go to pianoclassroom.com if you, that way you can get this PDF that has all the fingers and you can stare at it, take your time, just practice going really slow so you create that muscle memory. One of the tips that I try to remind all my students is to keep your fingers where they need to be. So if you already know, like right now, my hand, every finger is ready to do its job. It's just ready to press down. If I was playing my pinky, but my thumb was down here and my middle finger was here, well, I'm not ready. You see this a lot though, but my hand's not ready. It's making more work for myself. And I mean, let's face it, there's a lot going on in piano anyway, so why make more work for yourself? Get your hand in place, because see what happens is this. I'm going to try to copy what I've seen some other people do. So see how my fingers are flatter. My third finger isn't ready. So if you're trying to go fast, my thumb's down here. I have to really shove my finger to get up to the black note. And then, it just wastes time. It doesn't allow you to play quickly whatsoever. So make sure that you create good habits at the beginning. Just makes life a whole lot easier. When you're playing hands together, remember that your right hand's going to tuck under first, and then your left hand's going to cross over. Coming down, your left hand gets to tuck under first. It's like they switch jobs. And then your right hand gets to cross over. Even though this one doesn't have a lot of the patterns, it's like 2 white notes and a black note. And in this case, your third fingers play the black note. But once you cross and tuck under, your second finger in your left hand plays the black note. And your fourth finger in the right hand plays the black note. It's just kind of convoluted in which finger does what. Most of my students say this one is one of their favorite ones because after the black note, every time it's a half step. And that's not always, it doesn't happen all the time in the other scales. So once you play a black note, you have to play the white note right next door. So in the scale, as you're playing along, you play your F sharp. The next note, even though you're tucking under in your right hand, has to be the white note. So if you're thinking, okay, black note, half step, once you get to your black note, play a half step, and you're going up, black note, half step. So you have the black note half step with the F sharp and the G, and the black note half step with the C sharp and the D. So think the whole time you're playing black note, half step, black note, half step, black note, half step. And then usually coming down at this point, we've created muscle memory, so then the fingers just remember what to do. So hopefully the black note half step pattern helps you remember your notes. And D is found quite a bit in music, the D major scale, so have fun practicing that one.